Welcome to Tattoo Tabletop. My name is James, and today we are just going to talk about the new detachments that have come and or coming with Maelstrom. So we have Warhammer downloads on the community page, but we do not have them in the app quite yet, which is a little frustrating, seeing as last time it actually rolled out very smoothly and it was in the app immediately. So I'm not sure what the holdup is, but there's plenty of other channels that go into deep depth, so we're just going to do some surface level, go over the detachment rule, check out a few stratagems, see what they say, and I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on them. It's cool to see that we're getting new detachments, and not just, in this case, the only confusing bit is the 500 Worlds saw 3 detachments for Necrons, 3 detachments for Space Marines. Well, in this case, we saw 2 detachments for CSM, 2 detachments for Eldari, and then we saw 1 detachment for Orcs and 1 for Votann. So that is very interesting. Let's dive right on in. And of course, if you like this content, feel free to like, share, subscribe. I massively appreciate it. We're growing nice and easy, and hopefully we got some really fun content coming. So be sure to check that out. Start with number 1, CSM. So we're looking at Huron's Marauders. Specifically, the detachment rule is in the command phase. Select one of the following abilities until the end of your next command phase. Each Heretic Astartes infantry unit has that ability. At the start of each phase, if such a unit is visible to a friendly Huron Blackheart model, at the end of the phase it has both abilities, and one ability is each time this model makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll, and this unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Both great rules. Getting both and staying visible with Huron Blackheart is going to be very interesting. I'm very curious to see how he pairs up. We've gotten a look at some of the data sheets for like the Reavers and the Reave Captains. They seem like they are some cool models. I don't know that they're going to shake up a ton. The nice part is them having the infiltrate rule helps a ton. But this one, I mean, solid, +1 to hit, anytime they make an attack, so it's not just ranged, it's not just melee, it's anytime that they're visible. So you pick one, obviously, and you can just apply it to the entire army, but of course, if it's visible from here on, then you get it for both. So, and fallback and shoot and charge is fantastic. They got some of the enhancements here. We're just going to kind of breeze over them. Setup after disembarking from transport, it can still charge. Raid leader, that's a solid one. I mean, we don't have points quite yet, I don't think, unless there's probably a leak somewhere. Solid detachment. Let's take a look at one of them. So hardened killers, 1 CP in your command phase, 1 damned unit, so very specific damned unit. Improve the ballistic skill of ranged weapons by 1, improve the attacks characteristics of rapid fire by 1, improve the save characteristics by 1. So it's a lot of actual effects, but only specifically for damned models. It could be beneficial. I mean, I appreciate that it's only 1 CP. Nothing too crazy there. 1 CP +1 to your attacks after you made a charge. So you have to make the charge. Heretic Astartes in until the end of the turn. Your unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in which it advanced. So you get a 1 CP advance and charge along with your constant fallback and shoot and charge. Overall good. I think it'll see some play. I don't think it's going to shake up too much, if we're being honest, because people are going to be looking at Renegade Warband. Why are they going to be looking at Renegade Warband, James? Well, I'll tell you, Internet. It's because of the detachment rule. Heretic Astartes models from your army lose Dark Pax ability. Ranged weapons equipped by a Heretic Astartes models have Assault. So, Heretic Astartes. Across all of it, you get Assault. You lose Dark Pax, but you get Assault. Vendetta. At the start of your command phase, select 1 unit from your opponent's army, and until the start of the next command phase, that enemy has a Vendetta target. Each time you attack it with a Heretic Astartes model, it re-rolls the hit roll. You now have Oath of Moment, Chaos Space Marines. You now have Oath of Moment. And why is this such a big deal? Well, because in your movement phase, each time you set up or declare blah blah blah, in order to move, it can choose to default to Doctrine. If it does, it must take a Battle Shock test. So Battle Shock, you're not losing health. Because until you select the end until the end of the turn, this unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in which it fell back. So again, fall back, shoot, and charge. And until the end of the turn, this unit is eligible to declare a charge in turn in which it advanced. So you now have advance and charge with a Battle Shock test. You have fallback, shoot, and charge with a Battle Shock test. So you're not losing any wounds. You're not losing anything for like you would Dark Pax to get sustained or lethal, and that is a strong ability. But to just get a flat out Oath of Moment is colossal, because on top of that, the only reason we know the cost of this is because of this specific enhancement. Weaponized Hatred. Start of your command phase, after you have selected a Vendetta target, select a second enemy unit. Until the start of your next command phase, if your Vendetta target is destroyed, that second enemy unit becomes your Vendetta target until you select a new one. So you get double Oath, which is insane. That is going to be good. This is going to see use. I believe this upgrade is supposed to be 60 points from what I recall. That is going to be huge, and that's going to hurt a lot, especially with the Twisted Doctrine. So I think we're going to see a lot more play with the Renegade Raiders here. I mean, never outgunned. 1 CP shooting fight phase gives you lethal or sustained 1. So you still have access to lethal and sustained. It's just on 1 unit and it's 1 CP. Definitely still not a bad gig there. You have a 1 CP sticky objectives, which is fantastic. Like, all of these are 1 CP, which is absolutely huge. 1 Heretic Astartes infantry or mounted. Each time you targets your Vendetta at +1 to wound roll. So just a flat +1 to wound on top of your advance and charge or fall back and shoot and charge. You're going to have so much mobility. Fight phase, after you select a target, you have a surge move. Or no, you have a fight on death. That's what this is. Undying Hatred. You get a 4-up fight on death, which could be absolutely massive, especially with like some Terminators. They can be particularly brutal. Shooting phase, Heretic Astartes, +1 AP, always great. You know, especially if they don't have cover, you're gonna really kick up your AP on that, or really move their saves. Shooting phase, and then you can make a normal move, so you get a reaction. I think we're going to see a lot more play for the Renegade Warband, 100%. I think this is going to be a very popular choice, especially because it's new, but also because it's got some good stuff. So that's CSM all wrapped. Eldari, there's not a ton to talk about, just because I'm not as familiar with Eldari, but Eldari, let's just go through some of this. So this is Eldritch Raiders. We'll go through just a little bit of it. Eldari units are eligible to declare a charge in which they advance, so advance and charge. In addition, each time Enrathi Rangers or Shroudrunners units from your advance, you can reroll the advance roll. So you get an advanced charge, but you can reroll the advanced charge or the advance for those. One specifically, each time you add an Enrathi, I'm so sorry, Eldari players. I am so sorry, Brady. Given up to Corsair enhancement, must be unique. Okay, so you can give multiple enhancements, it sounds like. One of which melee weapons in this unit have Lance, which is good. Always a solid ability to have for them. Each time you spend a battle focus token for an agile maneuver, roll d6 on 3+, you gain 1. So a refund, which is not bad. A lot of movement shenanigans here. Exotic munitions, ranged weapons equipped by the models in this unit have anti-monster 5-up and vehicle 5-up. So it's a 5-up, which isn't great, but you know, could be worse, I guess. Well, it could be better. It should be probably a 4-up if you're paying an enhancement. That one I would hope is a cheap enhancement for sure. Fall back, battle focus. Okay, Raider spoils. Let's take a look here. Command phase, engagement range. Add 1 to the control. So you just spontaneously add 1 to your control unit, to that unit. That could be good because it's just the command phase, not your command phase, which could really shift an objective against your opponent, especially if you're about to try and trim them on primary or secondary. Your shooting fight phase, Void Scarred. Add 1 to the damage of that attack. For Corsari Vards, Void Scarred. That could be solid. I don't know that their AP is that high. I'm not as familiar with that data sheet, but getting us 1 CP +1 damage feels like that could be pretty good. One Eldari, get a 5-up, feel no pain, but specifically Eldari infantry, excluding Wraith constructs. So that's not terrible, but I mean, you're also low wound count, so I mean, you're really just trying to negate as much as you can, but a 5-up, feel no pain is always great. Eating fire, select one enemy unit, type invisible within 36 of your unit until the end of the phase. Each time that unit declares a charge, subtract 2. That's interesting. So, start of the charge phase. Then it has to be Rangers, Shroudrunners, or Starfang. That's very specific, which is a little unfortunate. Same thing here. Add 1 to the wound roll. So if you're not wounding on a 4, or if you are, attack is less than the highest toughness. Okay, so that's also a little wordy, but okay. and place into reserve. Solid, nothing too crazy there. And Corsair Coterie, we'll just go through this very briefly. While an objective marker is under control, each time an enemy unit ends in normal, advanced, fallback, charge within that, roll d6 on a 2+, they suffer d3 mortal wound. That's actually not terrible. It only, while an objective marker is under your control, each time. So I'd have to math this out, but realistically, if you, like at this point, once you lose control of it, it stops doing the mortals, which is interesting. At the end of a phase, if this unit is within range of an objective marker in control, that objective marker remains under your control until your opponent's level control. Okay, so it's just giving you an automatic sticky for Enrathi units. So that's interesting. So sticky, and then you just keep dropping mortal wounds on them. But it sounds like you'd have to trade a lot to get the mortal wound ability repeatedly, which is probably not something you want to do, because then you're going to have to play the game of, okay, I take the objective, I get off, you jump on the D3 mortal wounds. Okay, well, I go back and I take it, and then I wait, go off. It's probably going to be a little too much. A lot of front flip, back flip kind of situations. And each time you add an Enrathi unit to your army, you can be given up to 1 Corsair enhancement. Okay, so more enhancements. Arch Raider, Lord of the Seat. Okay, so you've got a Vector in there, which is good. You can give your units a 5+ invuln, Deep Strike, and subtract 1 from the OC if they're within 3 of the unit. So that's not terrible, I suppose. Try to fight phase, end of the phase with each time reroll, wound roll 1. Not terrible. Yeah, this seems like this is going to be a lot more. I mean, it's Eldari, so there is a certain like skill cap to it, especially like, I mean, I've obviously played my Drukhari just a few times. I identify the skill gap for playing Elven armies. I still think it's a fun challenge. There's a lot to it, and the people that play them absolutely love the factions. So, I mean, it's cool that we've got more Corsairs, but I have a feeling that these aren't going to be terribly massive, but I don't know. I'm just me, so we'll just hop on to the next one. But for the most part, seems like this could be interesting. I'm sure some people will try it out. I look forward to seeing what results they have. Next, we're going to jump on to the Orc one, the Free Buddha Crew. Here be loot. At the start of the battle round, select 1 objective marker until the end of the start of the next battle round. That objective marker is your loot objective. Each time a model in an Orc's infantry, mounted, or walker unit makes an attack, that attack has sustained 1. If either or both of the following are true, the model's unit is within range of your loot objective, or that attack targets a unit within range of objective. Okay, so basically you're picking an objective, that's your loot. You run after it with your infantry mounted walkers. You can shoot at it with sustain 1, or you can attack it with sustain 1, which is solid. I mean, you get sustain 1 in melee anyway for Warhorde, and this is orc shooting, so you really have to lean heavily into the guns. I'm assuming the enhancements are going to increase your likelihood to want to take the guns, because you're orcs, you hit on 5s, so you're already fishing for 5s and 6s anyway, I guess, but let's take a look. To Captain, War Boss model only. Once per battle round at the start of any phase, you can select 1 friendly orcs unit that's battle shocked. Okay, so you suffer D3 and you unshock. Not great. I would never take it. Almost never take it. It's Barswig. Range weapons equipped by your model in the barrier unit having more cover. That's actually not terrible. You could use that on some flash gits or something like that. Or maybe even some Ludas. And with enough Ludas, ignoring cover could be really solid. So you just gotta find the right connection to that. Bionic Workshop, Big Mech or Pain Boy. At the start of the battle, roll 1d3 and compare the result to the list below. To the end of the battle, models in this barrier unit have the Bionics ability. Okay, so you do this once at the beginning of the battle, and this is what you have permanently. Which, yeah, at the start of the battle. Okay. 1, add 2 to the movement characteristics of this model specifically. Add 1 to the strength characteristics of weapons equipped by this model, so just your Pain Boy, just your mech. Improve the weapon skill characteristic of melee weapons equipped by this model by 1. So that's deeply unfortunate. It's just the model, which is fine. Like, it makes sense. Like, why would a Bionic on your Big Mech or your Pain Boy go on the rest of your unit? But also, like, this is just for orc players who are playing for fun, because it's the beginning of the battle. You're like, ooh, what am I gonna get? And you just roll. And like, I'm sure there's part of you that's like, oh, I really like this, or I really like this, but you just roll it and you're just going with it. So interesting. Rexit's magic map. After both players are deployed, you can redeploy. Redeploy is great. This is great. So I would, if I was looking at these enhancements, I'd use the magic map and I use the get spotter squig. That's it. So let's just see what we got for the stratagems. Bash and grab. When the fight phase, one orc unit that has not been selected to fight until you can reroll the wound roll. Okay, so 1 CP. Let's say you've chosen your loot objective. You're getting sustained 1 on it, and then now you're rerolling the wound roll, which for 1 CP, not terrible. And it is the fight phase. Orcs are better fighters, so you should be getting a lot more hits in there, and you'll be getting your sustain. So it'll be like Warhorde essentially at that point, but with a reroll, the wound roll, which is solid. Let's just go across. Deck fraggers. Select one orc unit that has not been selected to shoot until the end of the phase. Each time the model targets an infantry unit with the weapon, it has blast. That's kind of cool, I guess. But I don't know how often you're running into hordes, like big blobs of things. Usually you're running into MSU, so you'll get 1 extra shot with the blast, which could add up. So I mean, I guess I get it. Like it could work. It could work if I'm thinking about it correctly. Okay, bash and grab, and then now this is grab and bash. Command phase, until the start of your next command phase, the WA is active for your army, even if you have already called the WA for your unit. Okay, so you can give a unit WA, but they have to be, this is very specific, your command phase, 1 orcs unit from your army, excluding Gretchen, that is within range of the loot objective. So that is confusing because you're going to give something WA. You're going to choose this objective to be your loot objective, which is what you get sustained 1 on. And I think it's just going to be for shooting, right? Because this model's unit is within range of your loot objective. So you're getting sustained 1 for being in the loot objective shooting-wise, unless something's about to attack you, and then you're going to leave it to go do this. So I guess it's mostly just to give you a save? It's okay. Excuse me. Rolling loot heap, shooting phase 1 flash gets, so flash gets specifically. So the end of phase have anti-vehicle 4 up. That's awesome. For 1 CP, giving your flash gets a anti-vehicle 4 up is great. Flash gets have great shooting. And there's plenty to stack up here with the get spotter squig if you can get someone attached to that with the ignores cover. That's fantastic. So ignore your cover, use your AP, and get anti-vehicle 4 up. 1 CP, not bad. Boarding rush your movement phase 1 orc unit that has not been selected to move. Advances flat 6 advance. Great for when you do pop your WA. But other than that, I mean, if you just really need to get somewhere, 1 CP, not terrible. Crump and run, your opponent's movement phase just as the enemy falls back. 1 target unit with engagement range, you can make a normal move up to 6. So so when your enemy falls back, that orc unit that was engaged with them can make a normal move up to 6, which too bad it can't like pursue. I would love to see, I know that it might create a feels bad, but I would, for specific armies, I would love to see one where it allows you the opportunity to make a charge roll to see if you can catch it. Because then your faster units, it forces your opponent to have to fall back away further. So if they have like a fast jet bike unit and they're like, oh, I'm just going to back up an inch. Well, pop the strat, charge again, you get a charge, you get a bonus, and it gives you the combat. So I think that would be awesome, and then it would force your opponent to be like, oh, I'm going to take all 12 inches of the movement, go all the way back here. It's still possible to reach them, but keeps them from just going boop, which I think is annoying more than. So that's the Orcs detachment. So let's hop on to the Votann. Okay, on to one of the last ones, the Leagues of Votann. So this is one thing that I definitely had started to notice is that they've started changing a lot of the rules. So like in the Chaos Space Marine one, it gets rid of Dark Packs. In this case, Ruthless Reinvestment. Your Leagues of Votann units do not have the Hostile Acquisition or Fortified Takeover abilities, except as described in this rule. Start of the battle, your Leagues of Votann units have Hostile Acquisition ability. At the end of your command phase, you can spend 3 yield points. If you do, Leagues of Votann units from your army lose Hostile Acquisition and gain Fortified Takeover. So this kind of gives you a little bit more flexibility in so much as it's no longer a fixed chart, right? So you're no longer, once you hit this many yield points, boom, you're immediately into fortify and you stay there for forever until you go under. Now you can just spend 3 of your yield points to add and to change into fortify takeover as opposed to hostile takeover. So in that way, if you want to get aggressive and do those extra bits, then you exist in hostile, and then you spend 3 and you flip to it. So that's actually very nice. Because yeah, you'll stick with that, and then at the end of your command phase, you can spend 3 to switch to it. So that's actually kind of nice. I think that's a little bit better. I will say, just looking at it, start of the battle, you have this until the end of the command phase. At the end of the command phase, you spend 3, lose hostile, and gain that. Okay, so, or vice versa. Okay, so you just spend your yield points to switch between them, but it's at the end of your command phase. So, more specifically. Enhancements. Mercenary Prospector, call unit. Each time this enemy unit is destroyed by the bear's unit, gain 2 yield points. Okay, sure, stacks them up a little bit quicker. Metaphysical Brokerage, at the end of your turn, if the bearer is on the battlefield, you gain fewer than 3 yield points. You gain the amount equal to the difference. That's kind of nice. Could be solid. And that way, if you don't gain as much, you can make up the difference, which is good. Edekarn SB9 targeting implant. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. Each time a bearer in the bearer's unit is selected to shoot or fight, you can spend 3 yield points, and if you do into the end of the battle, whoa. Each time a model in the bearer's unit makes an attack, the attack has sustained 1. That's kind of nice because that's melee or shooting, which is great. So, and 3 yield points, which will stack those up. Asset Manipulator. At the start of the command phase, you spend 3 yield points. If you do into the end of the turn while an enemy unit is within 3 of the bearers, subtract 1 from the... Okay, so that's not terrible. Overall, I see these all having a decent place, which is actually kind of nice. Nice little shift. And I like the Ruthless Reinvestment. I like being able to spend 3 and shift back and forth between those two. That's very helpful. But are the stratagems is helpful? So, Auxiliary Contract. When shooting or the fight phase, 1 leagues of Votan infantry or mounted unit that is not selected for fight until the end of the phase. Weapons have precision. Alright, so if you want to kill a character out, that's not terrible. You're really going to want to pick the right one, because obviously if you're about to unleash gunfire on it, you're going to want to make sure you kill that character for sure. Privateer Arsenal, your shooting phase, leagues of Votan infantry. You can spend 3 yield points to the end of the phase. Each time a model makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1, and reroll a wound roll of 1. If you spend yield points during the usage of this stratagem, you can reroll the hit roll and the wound roll of 1 instead. Okay, so this one, if you spend yield points for it, then you can reroll the entire hit roll and a wound roll of 1. It's 1 CP. I almost kind of prefer this would have been a 2 CP, so you spend 2 CP and 3 yield points to reroll a hit roll and reroll a wound roll. That'd be kind of sweet, but I suppose for 1 CP, rerolling the entire hit roll and then a wound roll of 1 is still not bad. Optimal expenditure. Infantry unit. So again, a lot of this are based around infantry, which is totally fine with me because I love my infantry. Each time you use the stratagem, you can spend 3 yield points until the end of the phase. You make attack, reroll a hit roll of 1, and reroll a wound roll of 1. You can reroll a hit roll of 1 and reroll the wound roll. Okay, so you have the reverse. So you have Privateer Arsenal, reroll the hit roll and a wound roll of 1, or Optimal Expenditure, which is reroll a hit roll of 1 and reroll the wound roll. So you have the mirror there, which is very, very interesting. So I guess to suit your needs per your Leagues of Votan infantry, depending on what they're shooting at, there's one that you're going to want to reroll for sure. New Horizons. Any of your opponent's fight phase, 1 Leagues of Votan infantry that is not within engagement range, and 1 friendly transport is able to embark within. If your Leagues of Votan unit is wholly within 6 of the transport, it can embark with it. So end of your opponent's fight phase, you can literally just pop right in. But obviously can't be in engagement range, so you have to be just clear enough. So maybe a situation where you fight and then you pluck units out of an inch to get them out of engagement range, and then pop them in, but not terrible, not terrible. One TP movement phase, just after Leagues of Votann falls back. You're able to shoot and declare a charge in which you fell back. 1 CP, great strat, easily. Yeah, you'll definitely want to You'll definitely want to fall back. You'll definitely want to shoot, and you'll probably maybe want to charge. But for sure, you definitely want to fall back and shoot as Votann. Mobile exploitation. End of your opponent's fight phase. 1 Hernkin unit. So specifically, this is the first one that really is locked in on the Hernkin. So the Leagues of Votann one. So this one actually is for your vehicles as well, which is great because it's just Leagues of Votann unit. But this one, Hernkin specifically, is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units. Alternatives, you can spend 2 yield points and target up to 2 Hernkin that are not within engagement range. Remove them from the battlefield and place them into strategic reserves. That's actually pretty good. That's going to give you a little bit more objective play, and it might encourage you to bring more Hernkin Pioneers. I mean, you're going to want to Sagittar them to split them up naturally into 2 groups of 5, but have them infiltrate, have them block some stuff off in the front, and then if your opponent doesn't charge them or anything like that, then you can just alternatively just spend those 2 yield points and 1 CP and get them out of there. I like the stratagems. I think this actually looks like a lot of fun. This could have some decent teeth to it. Is it going to be the go-to? No, but do I think that this could potentially do some serious damage? Absolutely. So I do like detachment. Of the 4 detachments that are coming, I think this one might be my favorite. I do like my Leagues of Votann. I do think Renegade Warband is going to be very strong. We're going to see CSM players shift to this for sure. Just getting Oath alone is fantastic. Getting double Oath is going to be insane. Chaos Space Marines do have some firepower. They do have some strong abilities, and these stratagems are going to be a pretty strong addition to them. So I think we're going to see a good amount of Renegade Warband coming up. But my favorite has been the Leagues of Votann one. So just one little addendum that I did want to note. So the one thing that annoyed me, and I'll just say this right now, I'm fine when Games Workshop changes the rules. It happens. It's important to balancing the game. I'm all good with that. However, the problem I have is when they change things and they expect you to just understand. So for example, if we go to the download pack here, you see that all of these show updates. Well, you'd expect it for Eldari, for Orcs, for Votann, and for Chaos Space Marines because they got new detachments. But then you see ones that don't have it. And specifically, like in my case, I'm playing my Guard, and I built my Guard army, and I've been trying out Grizzled Veterans. They just got rid of the reroll wound roll 1 if you're shooting or if you're attacking something on an objective. Now, not the worst thing in the world. Like, don't get me wrong. It is a strong ability, and I think it shifted a lot of players back to immediately into Grizzled Veterans. But Grizzled Company. Sorry, not Veterans. Grizzled Company. But I am a little annoyed that they just didn't even say anything about it. Like, not even in an article or anything like that. It would have been nice for them to just say something so that you could be like, oh, I'm going to go check. Because obviously when the Unitorum field manual or when like balanced data slates drop, we get a notification from them. We get an article that's like, by the way, points changed here and this changed here. And like, you can check it. You can find it. When you do something like this, there's absolutely going to be somebody who, especially since it didn't go straight to the app, or even if it did go straight to the app, you're going to get people who are going to go to tournaments or go to whatever. They're going to play the old rule. And then later they're going to find out that it got changed. And that's going to feel bad for them because there might be someone who's like, oh, you're playing this way illegal. And it might not be their fault. They might seriously just might not have noticed. So I hope they get a little bit better about that in the future, especially because it was supposed to just be the addition of the additional detachments and not this. So I mean, I'm fine with the stealth update. I'm fine with the update. The update is fine. It's just I really wish that they would communicate ahead of time in at least an article to say like, hey, by the way, these changes occurred. Go check them out. That would have been nice. But overall, again, I think the Mercenary Oathband might be my favorite. I haven't whipped out my Leagues of Votann for a while now, and not since I played Teams. I hear good things about them with the new book. I've heard people have started figuring out a few more things, so I'll have to take a look. I never picked up the Capricus or the Steeljacks or anything like that. I was still kind of waiting for the jetpacks. I was actually very excited for the Leagues of Votann. I have the special edition because I loved the artwork on it. And maybe this Mercenary Oathband will get me to pick him back out again to play with him a little bit more. But for the most part, I've just kind of been enjoying. I've been working on my garden and enjoying the Grizzle Company. So we will see. But that's just been my impressions. Let me know what you think down in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Are any of these detachments going to be the ones you default go to, or are there one or two of these that you're actually afraid to run into? Let me know down in the comments down below. And of course, if you like this content, feel free to like, share, subscribe. I massively appreciate it. You know, I've got a couple other videos coming up real soon, and I hope to see you all soon. But until next time, I've got stuff to do, so I'm just gonna go paint something.